Hey guys, so today we're going to be working on a different transformation, which is reflections. So think about reflections as in a reflection in a mirror or on water, things like that. So it's a mirrored image. So for instance, this shape here, if I reflect this, it doesn't, translating it looked like this. We like shifted it left and right and moved it up or down or whatever. But this is a reflection, so it's a mirrored image. So if I'm mirroring it over this line, the image gets flipped, and it's going to end up looking something like this. So I take this image and then flip it, mirror it over here. So here's what it looks like to create that. So again, just like we did before, label this A, B, C. So this should form a 90-degree angle. My ruler is going to form a 90-degree angle with this. So that's a 90-degree angle. That looks pretty close. So in this case, notice that it's about 1.5 inches away. So I'm going to go another 1.5 inches. So that would be at 3. I think it's just easier if you go ahead and just double. So 1.5, double that, that's 3. I think that way it's on the exact same line versus measuring again and trying to get 1.5 there. So that's A prime. Now do the same thing here. That looks like that is at, and actually to be even more exact, let's switch that to centimeters. So that looks about like 2.5, so that means 5, maybe a little bit less. So I'll make it right there. B prime. Do the same thing here, C, and that looks like 3.12, so that's going to be 6.4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be C prime. Now I go and connect those. And there we go. All right, this one. We got A, B, C, D. And I'm going to do the same thing here, except for it's reflecting over this. So again, I want to form a 90-degree angle. Centimeters here. Going to form a 90-degree angle with this line. So that looks like a 90-degree angle there. And that distance looks like 4. So I'm going to make this 8. So that becomes A prime. Do the same thing here. That's also 4. So this is going to be 8. And this will also be. So that's C prime. That's B prime. Now I just got to do the same thing for D here. That looks like that's right at 1. And then we do the same thing for D. Again, make sure it's at 90-degree angle. Looks like it's at a little over 1, so we're going to call this 2.2, 1.1, 2.2. Call that D prime. And again, let's go ahead and connect these. So that. And there we go. There's that reflected. All right, I'm going to do the stick person, and you guys will do the fish. Applying the same strategy. So, I'm going to call top of his head A, bottom B, C, D, where they meet,
Now again, it's reflected over this line. So it's not this, it's not reflected like this. Remember, it has to form a 9-degree angle. So if I'm doing A, that looks about like a 9-degree angle. So that looks like 3.6. So that's 7.2. So that's A prime. Do the same thing for B. So looks like 3.3. So call that 6.6. Oops, wait. Oh, I was a little off on that first one. Yeah, call that 3.7 point, yeah, 2 or so. A prime, B looks like 3.3, so 6.6. C. That looks like 90 degrees, somewhere in there. So 2.1, so it looks like 4.2. C prime, D. 2.2, so 4.4. E looks exactly like 3, so I'm going to call that 6. F. Six, 7.2. Oops. G. So that looks like 3.8. 7.6. H. Four, 4.8. I 2.5, call that 5. And J. Looks like 1.3, so 2.6. All right, now let's connect these. So A and B, that's the head. Looks something like that. And then B to E is the neck. And E, F, D. There you go. And C. F to G. To H. Alright, there you go. So, not perfect, but pretty darn close. So imagine this gets flipped, would look like this. So now, imagine doing the same thing with the fish. So the fish is like this, and it's going to get reflected over this line. And you guys are going to give that a shot. You can go ahead and pause the video to do that. Now we're going on to reflection on the coordinate axis using a coordinate plane. So, if we're reflecting over the x-axis, remember this is x, this is y. So, for reflecting over the x-axis, it means I'm going to be reflecting, technically, I'm reflecting over this point 2, 0. So how far away is E from here? 1. So that'd be E prime. How far is F from the x-axis? 1, 2, 3. So I count. It's, 1, 2, 3 away, so I count it 1, 2, 3. There's F prime. Do the same thing for D. D prime. And that. Is that reflected over the x-axis? Now this one says reflect over the y-axis. So again, that's x, this is y. So I'm going to reflect over this point. That's the point 0, 1. So how far away is A from the axis? It's 1 away, so I go this direction, 1 away in the opposite direction. D is 1, 2, 3, 4 away, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Call it D prime. B is 2 away. And C is 3 away. So when I connect those, I get this shape. Now that shape, the trapezoid reflected over the y-axis. If it was reflected over the x-axis, it would be down like this. All right? Let's do the same thing for here. So over the line y equals x, so now that's along this. So this is a little different. So let's start with this one. So it's diagonally 1 away, so it's diagonally 1 away. This point right here is diagonally 1.5 away, so I go half 1 away. So I can call that A, A, not A prime. Call this B. Call this C, so this is A prime, B prime. And C is 1, 2.5, so half, 1, 2. So now this, and that's C prime. So it looks something like this. when you reflect it over the line y equals x. Okay. And then here, smiley face. So again, in this case, actually I'm going to do A, B, C, D. And I'm going to put my smiley face in at the end. So A is diagonally 1, diagonally 1. B. If I'm going from here, I'm going to actually count that. I'm going to actually mark this side. B. I'm going to do the same thing, make the opposite one D here. Okay, so diagonally 2, diagonally 1, 2. So that's B prime, that's A prime. D is 1.5, half, 1. That's D prime. C is 1, 2.5, half, 1. Oops. Half, 1, 2. So that's C prime. So it's going to look like this shape. Right. And smiley face is going to be eyes here, mouth. So it'll look like that. Alright. Over the line, x equals 1. So where does x equal 1? Well, this is the x-axis. X equals 1 at this line right here. This is 1, that's 2, that's x equals 3, x equals 4. So the line x equals 1 is this vertical line right there. So I'm going to reflect over that, not over the x or y axis, but over this line. So how far away is this from here? It's 2 away. So mark that as A, so A prime. B is also 2 away, so B, call it B prime. C is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 away, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Call that C, so this is C prime. D would be here. That's E, and that's F. So E is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And F is going to be here. There we go. So it's going to look like that. Line y equals 1. Where does y equal 1? Here's the y-axis. Y equals 0 here. 1. Y equals 2. Y equals 3. Y equals 4. So y equals 1 is right here. And it's all along this horizontal line. So, right there. Call this A, B, C, D, E. So A is 1, 2, 3, 4 away, 1, 2, 3, 4 away. B is only 2 away, 2 away. C is going to be also 2 away. D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then E is going to be 2 over. So. Again, do you see how that image is this reflected is going to equal that? It's going to come to that. Alright, this one is going to be 2 of them. So I'm going to go over the line y equals 1. So where's y equal 1? So this is y equals 0, that's y equals 1, y equals 2, y equals 3. So y equals 1 is this horizontal line, just like it was on the last one. Okay, and then we're going to reflect it over the line x equals 2. So x equals 2 is 1, 2. So that's along this. So call that A, B, C, D. Reflect it 1, reflect it 1, D. Reflect it 1, 2, 3, 4 away, 1, 2, 3, 4 away. And then B is 1, 1, 2, 3 away, 2, 3 away. And C would be here. So I have that image. And now I got to reflect it again over the line x equals 2. So it's this. So funny thing is when you reflect when it's on the line that's reflecting over, in this case C and C prime are actually going to be the same spot. Or C double prime, I should say. And then B is 2 away, so it's 2 away. B double prime. A is 1 away, so A is going to be here. And D will be there. Double prime. So my final image, after I reflected it twice, will be that one right there. Now for these, just like last time, we're going to use Desmos to graph these, and then we're going to determine what line it was reflected over. So if you go to Desmos here, so that first one is the line y equals x squared. Looks like that. And then the other one is negative, parentheses, x squared. So how do we get from the red line to the blue line? And also, if you didn't catch that, how you square it? X squared, right there. And then I use parentheses, so I went parentheses, or negative. The minus sign is also negative on Desmos, minus, and then parentheses x squared. So how do I get from the red line to the blue line? Well, that reflected over the x-axis. So reflected, so I went from here, flipped over to this. So first of all, we're going to draw that. Okay. And how we're going to denote that? You can say reflected over the x-axis, but that's also where y equals 0. So we're going to call that the line y equals 0. Again, make sure you circle that in the top right corner of the graph. So it's reflected. If you write over x-axis, that's fine too. But that's the line y equals 0, because y equals 1 here, 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 here. It equals y equals -1, -2, -3, -4. It equals 0 here. It also equals y equals 0 here, y equals 0 here. So this entire line is y equals 0. Same thing for x. X equals 0 would be the y-axis. Okay. So next one, x cubed and negative x cubed. So x, and then you hit this button, so it's x to the third power. Do the same thing here, just backspace on that using this button, little this. So I go and here to the third. So I end up with this. So how do I get from the red line to the blue line? This one reflected over the y-axis, which again,
we're gonna call that the line x equals 0. So I go ahead and draw those in. Okay. So yeah, or the line x equals 0. Next one, square root sign. Square root of x plus 3 and negative x plus 3. So negative square root sign x plus 3. So looking at this, how do I get from the red line to the green line? That one again reflected over the x-axis. So that's the line y equals 0. And it's 3 this direction. It looks like it crosses around there, so I go. Crosses around there. Okay, and again, cross, and it's reflecting, went from here to here. It's reflecting over the x-axis. So we're going to call it the line y equals 0, just like we did on this one. Okay, I'll do the next one, then you guys do the next two. So square root of x is, so we go square root of x, and then square root of negative x. And look what happens here, how to get from the blue line to the purple line. It this time reflected over the y-axis. So that's the line x equals 0. And there you go. Now you guys go ahead and try the next two. Thanks.